So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining. For those who are new to our programs, this is our summer book bash. My name is Stephanie Sandala. I am Programming and Outreach Specialist at Library Link NJ. So, I'm very excited today. We have a book buzz with Abrams, Harlequin, and Hachette. But first, Christy and I are so thrilled. We have a Q&A with Jason June. We'll chat about all things relating to what he's working on. Christy has some great questions for him. And then after his Q&A, we will move into the book buzz portion of the program. But in the meantime, Christy, feel free to go ahead and get started.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. And thank you, everybody, for being here. JJ, thank you for being able to join us this week. Really excited to be able to see you and talk to you
Thank you for having
because,
me.
yes, we love all the stuff you've been writing. And so let's get started with actually, your most recent book, Flopping in a Winter Wonderland. I just love that title. And the
Thank you so
cover is
much.
so adorable. But, it's contemporary, it's a queer rom-com. I love the sort of, I love the kind of the trope of we're going to stop somebody else having a relationship, but we're going to fall in love instead. So, that's seems so classic. But right before that, you came with The Magic You Make, and that's the sequel to The Spells We Cast. And those are queer, fast-paced fantasies.
Yes,
So do you have different approaches when you're writing your different genres or writing a standalone versus series?
totally. So with the Spells We Cast duology, that was the first time that I wrote a duology. Everything else has just been a standalone. So I'm already a very intense plotter. I'm such a Virgo normally, where I put pages and pages and pages of outline before I even get started. Always chapter by chapter, oftentimes even scene by scene about like what's going on. Then with the Spells We Cast, it was like a whole other ball of wax because I was doing that basically for two books when I started the first to make sure I knew where we were going, keeping track of all the rules of magic, keeping track of where I could potentially write myself into a corner if I don't keep track of all the rules, that somehow it could have been an easy fix with magic, but it wasn't because I said such and such couldn't happen. There was way more of like of a compendium of sorts of how the book should look and work and the world acts and feels and everything. Whereas with my standalones, I still do the same outline, but I'm always like focused on romance and love. So there's less of a stressed out vibe. Not to say that it wasn't fun to write write a fantasy duology, but it's way more of just like, oh, they have to fall in love at the end. So what's the way that we're gonna get to that? And so it's a little bit more of a easygoing process for me in that way.
Well, it's nice to know that love is easy.
Yeah.
That is really, I think, a very good thing to have. So, besides writing, I was looking at your website, and you are also an actor and a narrator. And I'm sure that you do lots of other stuff besides even what's on your website. But with each of these creative pursuits, do they influence each other as you go through, or do you try to approach each of one separately?
They totally influence each other, which has been like such an amazing help. Especially, I have always acted or performed in some way, but I kind of thought it was an impossible dream because like everybody wants to be an actor or performer. And for some reason, I thought it was less of an impossible dream to publish books, which is bananas. I thought that. But through just the luck of the universe and through that sort of like cosmic guidance, I was really focusing on books because that's where the work came all of a sudden. And so it was within the last couple of years that I really got the acting bug in me again, especially as I was feeling burnout start to creep up into my brain. And so I really started focusing on acting and audiobook narrating. And it's just totally released the pressure valve. And writing is not to say it wasn't fun before, but it's like truly enjoyable again. I'm not at the point where I just feel like I'm really straining a muscle to the point of breaking it. And it helps me in acting to be a writer. It helps me realize like the emotional intention of certain delivery and certain words within a script to be able to see that, to be able to narrate other people's books and like put the emotion and sort of the camp in some of these books because typically audiobook narration is not very campy or flamboyant, and I think that there is a certain set of books that require that. And so it's been really fun and to be able to talk with the authors who want a little bit more of a lively performance. That's not at all to say that audiobook narrators are not already lively, but just to really be able to get sort of more of that queer sensibility sometimes in some of these queer characters has been really amazing and has then helped me want to write more of those characters when I get back into book writing. So it's all kind of this fun little cycle that I've got going on now.
Yeah, and I just love the way that you said that they influence each other and really kind of supports you when you are starting to burn out on one versus another. So you always have something to lean into with that.
Completely.
Yeah. So, obviously we talked about your YA books, but you have written others. You have a middle grade series. You have picture books. How did you decide that you wanted to change audiences or move between audiences? And do you have a favorite audience to write for?
Yeah. So in answer to how I decided to like switch audiences, a lot of it had to do with where I felt my weaknesses were. So I first started in picture books when I was actually interning and assistanting at a literary agency. And my boss at the time, she still went through all of her queries, but she would also have me go through every single one and sort of have me say if I think we should follow up and get materials from this writer, or if it was a pass from her, or if it was like a great book, but not necessarily right for my boss's list because she had something too similar, or because she didn't really represent that genre or whatever. And maybe we would reference or refer that to somebody else. And every single time I read a picture book manuscript, I just got it wrong. I like could not figure it out. I was like, how do you tell a story in around 500 words or less and not be didactic, not explain to the reader what could be shown in illustration so it wouldn't be necessary in text? It blew my mind. So I started taking picture book writing classes to figure out the form better. And from there, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I actually really, really love this. And so the very first book that I had published was Hubert Hoover, Owl Detective. And it just really ignited this spark in me to be a writer and a creator. And from there, I tried to get middle grade fantasy taking off for me. And that was like what I read a lot of when I was working in the agency. I found it just so exciting and enjoyable. I liked how fast paced middle grade fantasy is. And I thought that I could do that. I still hopefully someday would be able to do that. But I wrote 3 full middle grade fantasy manuscripts, went out on submission. They were not bought. And in sort of a palate cleanser, I was like, I just need to be away from middle grade. So I started reading a lot of young adult contemporary. And in that time, I realized there's magic in real life too. Like there's so many amazing experiences that transform us. And the word to me to describe them is magical, even though it's not like witches and wizards and fairies and all that. There's magic in real life. And that was sort of the aha spark that brought me to young adult contemporary romance of like, I want to explore this. I want it to be from a queer lens. And I just want to give more books that were not around when I was a teen. And that kind of like that aged me up. And I wouldn't say that I have a favorite. It's more just in terms of like where I'm feeling at the time. Like right now I'm focusing on adult, that I think I've said what I need to say for younger audiences right now, and we'll see what happens in the adult world.
Oh, we'll be excited and waiting for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, JJ, it's been amazing talking to you. And I always like to add my last question is, tell us what you're reading right now.
I was so happy to see you ask about this, Christy, because I literally just finished this book, Francine's Spectacular Crash and Burn by Renee Swindle. If you have not read it yet, it's fairly new. I think it came out at the beginning of the summer. It's one of my favorite books that I've read in forever. It's a story about finding family. It's a story about coming to terms with grief and loss and figuring out how to move on, about finding yourself. And those all sound like such cliches, like just those themes, but Renee does it in such a unique way, following Francine, who meets an autistic boy who's in foster care, and he just totally changes her life in terms of her wanting to help raise this boy. And he's got his unique works that help shed light to her on things about her own life. Her deceased mother was like this YouTube psychic, and there's just the quirkiest, coolest, most bizarre trappings in her whole world. I cannot recommend this enough. Everyone needs to read it.
Oh, I'm sure all of us will be looking for it. So thank you again, JJ, for joining us at the beginning of this book buzz, and we'll turn it over to Stephanie.
Thanks for having me. Happy buzzing, everybody.
Thank you, JJ. That was lovely. And I'm adding that book to my list.
Do it.
Yes. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And then from Harlequin, we have Pam and Mahi, who are going to talk about their books. And again, I'm very biased, but there's some great books coming out. So please feel free to just take any notes, reach out to them afterwards. And Pam and Mahi, feel free to go ahead and get started.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today. I'm Pamela Osti, and my colleague Mahi Patel's with me. We're marketers at HTP Books or Harlequin Trade Publishing. We're just so happy to be here to present our upcoming titles. So next slide, please. Over to Mahi to start us off.
Awesome. So for the first book, we have The Secret Book Society by Madeline Martin, who is a best-selling author of bookish historical fiction. And she's back with her newest book, which is set in London in 1895. It's about three women, each married and trapped by societal expectations, who receive a mysterious invite to an afternoon tea at the home of a Lady Dexbury. They gather and begin a clandestine book club. Here they can freely read what they are forbidden from reading. They can share their dreams, they can find sisterhood. But what these women's husbands assume to be frivolous tea parties is soon threatened by the very society that they live in, and soon one misstep could cost them everything. As is the case with Madeline Martin's other books, this one is just as captivating and beautiful, more so in its portrayal of female empowerment. So we're really excited for readers and their own secret book societies to read this one. Next slide, please.
Okay, so you all may remember Michiko Ayama's very recent success, What You're Looking For is in the Library. That one was a huge hit among libraries and indies. And now Michiko is back with her second novel, The Healing Hippo of Hinode Park. This story follows the lives of 5 residents in their apartment, who live in an apartment complex in Tokyo, each at very different stages of life and struggling in some way with their families or careers. Nearby in Sunrise Park, they soon discover a very special hippo ride where, according to urban legend, if you touch the exact area of the hippo where you yourself need comfort or healing, like your mind, your voice, your heart, you'll start to see swift signs of recovery. While very different from What You're Looking For is in the Library, this novel hits all the healing fiction trends. It's quirky, it celebrates the joy of everyday life, and it's all about the power of human connection. Next slide.
Awesome. So Spellcaster is the latest new adult dark romantasy from bestselling author Jamin Eve, which is set in an elite college for witches. Our main heroine is a late-blooming outcast who has just discovered her powers, and our main hero is an angry young man who's just discovered troubling things about his own past. These two characters are thrust together in an academic setting where danger and secrets lurk around every corner. If you're currently watching Wednesday on Netflix like I am, and you love those dark magic academia vibes, this book has a lot of that, and it will also appeal to fans of Fourth Wing. It's got an angsty enemies to lovers arc, it's got dark magic, it's got friendship, it's got the best bits of that steamy, dark academia vibe that readers will absolutely love. Next slide, please.
Okay, Dinner at the Night Library. Hika Harada, who's the author of Dinner at the Night Library, is a best-selling award-winning Japanese author who's written this whimsical, charming novel about food and about books. It's about a library in Tokyo that opens only after dark from 7 p.m. to midnight. It only stores classics by deceased authors, and these books can't be checked out. There's also a cafe in the library where each night the chef cooks different meals inspired by the books on display. The narrator is a new employee, and she meets the library staff, who are a motley group of publishing hopefuls, and together they celebrate books and find joy and purpose in their work. This is perfect for fans of healing cozy fiction. It's set in the world of books, and we're just so excited to have everyone read it. It was a huge hit at ALA Annual. We had galleys in the booth, and we could not hang on to them. They went very, very quickly. Next slide, please. This is something a little different, just releasing in time for the holidays. We have Once Upon a Holiday. This is a reissue of beloved author Susan Mallory's Christmas anthology, consisting of a full-length novel and novella in one beautiful package. It's the perfect holiday romance. It's full of tropes and one that readers both new and old to Susan's charm will absolutely love. And then Sarah Morgan, the USA Today bestselling author of contemporary romance, is back with a hilarious and heartfelt holiday novel in A Merry Little Lie. This is a big-hearted, witty, refreshing, and tender holiday novel about a chaotic family gathering where everyone is holding onto secrets. The book will resonate with fans of Mary Kay Andrews and Rebecca Searle. And then finally, A Christmas Carol meets the hating game at Hanukkah in the 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah, Gene Meltzer's newest rom-com about a workaholic Jewish television producer who is visited by 8 heartbreaks of Hanukkah past after she's forced to work with her ex-husband on a live-action Christmas musical. This is Gene's first book to feature Hanukkah since The Matzah Ball, which debuted with great buzz and acclaim. Next slide, please. This is something completely different. We're very excited to bring you a fresh biography from New York Times bestselling author and one of the world's best-known biographers, Andrew Morton. Andrew is, of course, known for his groundbreaking 1992 biography of Diana that was so important to her story that Andrew actually appeared as a character in the Netflix show The Crown. He's also, of course, the author of the New York Times bestselling The Queen. Winston and the Windsors is a groundbreaking story of Winston Churchill and his hot and cold yet monumental relationship with the British royal family. This never-before-told biography covers Churchill's family's complex relationship with the crown, his partnership with King George VI, and his fondness for Queen Elizabeth. It discusses how the crown shaped his career, but also how he shepherded the monarchy into the modern era. In a time where British nobility and English history hold so much intrigue, fans of the Palace Papers and The Splendid and the Vile will love this highly anticipated, fresh angle on one of the most famous heads of state in history. Next slide, please.
So Susan Lee is back, this time in her adult debut, with a hilarious but emotional rom-com about Julia, who is a Korean-American skincare CEO. She is a super successful, well-made woman, but she is 30 and unmarried, which in the Korean-American community is unacceptable. So when her grandmother reveals that she's dying, Julia reluctantly agrees to go on 3 blind dates with men of her grandmother's choosing. She is not doing this alone. Coaching her for these dates is Tae, who is the Korean-American community's beloved fix-it man, who has always liked Julia and would do anything to help her. This book is about familial love, about community, the ways we limit ourselves, and the joy of love and human connection. It's a rom-com at its core, but it deals with heavier topics as well, and it has an emotional depth to it that readers will love and appreciate. Next slide, please.
Bonds of Hercules. So with Bonds of Hercules, we're back with the highly anticipated sequel to the viral TikTok sensation and New York Times bestseller Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. For those of you who may not have read that book, the series is set in a near-future dystopian world where Spartans have godlike powers and rule over all. The main character, Alexis, is a young, snarky, nonconformist half-human who turns this world upside down. Book 2 picks up right where Blood of Hercules left off. Readers will discover what happens next for Alexis as her lethal powers awaken and she deals with the 4 killers who are following her every move. This book is a juicy enemies to lovers romance. It's spicy, it's romantic, it's dark and intense, and has amassed legions of fans who will no doubt come to book 2. Next slide. Otherwise Engaged by Susan Mallory. So we've got yet another Susan Mallory title to share with you. Susan, of course, is no stranger to you. She's a Library Reads Hall of Famer, and her hooky, perfect for book club premises with shocking family secrets, trademark wit and heart, and gorgeous sunny Southern California settings are catnip to her legions of fans. One trip to a wedding venue has shocking and unexpected consequences for 2 mothers and their daughters in this witty and heartfelt look at the powerful and sometimes suffocating bond between parent and child and the secrets we keep from one another. This book is perfect for fans of Elin Hilderbrand and Emily Giffen. Next slide, please.
So you might already be familiar with New York Times bestselling novel, The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkauf. It sold over 100,000 copies, and it was followed by Everyone is Watching, which was a Library Reads March top 10 pick in 2024. And now we're super excited to share The Perfect Hosts with you, which also comes with an interesting new premise. This book starts at an extremely over-the-top gender reveal party set on a magnificent horse ranch in Wyoming. It's a lavish affair with some of the richest people in the country in attendance. The plan is simple. The to-be parents will shoot a rifle at a faraway pickup truck, which will set off an explosion of either pink or blue dust. But when the gun actually goes off, the explosion misfires, all hell breaks loose, and someone is left dead. So this book is very Big Little Lies or Ruth Ware meets Dallas. And if you love Alyssa Cole, Alice Feeney, Tarrant Fisher, this one is for you for sure. Next slide, please.
All right, Justinian Wang's debut novel, The Emperor in the Endless Palace, was released to rave reviews and critical acclaim. It received a Stonewall honor at this year's ALA Annual, and its story resonated with readers to the point that it was recently adopted into the class curriculum of courses at both San Francisco State and Pomona College. It's why we're thrilled to present Justinian's latest novel, Lucky Seed, which is a family drama set in present-day Los Angeles. Picture this: Succession's power struggles meets the outrageous glitz of Crazy Rich Asians. The billionaire Sun clan of Los Angeles is a wealthy, dysfunctional, and desperate to protect their lineage. At the heart of the chaos is Wayward Sun, the gay black sheep of the family. Enter Rose's son, the formidable matriarch, who delivers a bizarre mandate to Wayward to father a male heir or risk their ancestors' suffering as hungry ghosts in the afterlife. What follows is a whirlwind of scheming aunties, emasculated uncles, and scandal-ridden cousins battling for control of their family's future. Justinian's writing is full of humor and wit, and we're sure the compelling characters of the Sun family will have their fans as they read Lucky Seed. Next slide.
So Erin LaRosa is a romance queen. Her 2023 rom-com Plot Twist was a Library Reads November 2023 pick, and it was named one of the 12 best romance books of 2023 by Book Riot. Her work is punchy, witty, swoony, and it ticks all the boxes of any classic rom-com lover. So in Not You Again, her upcoming release, Erin has brought a trendy speculative twist to her signature romance, which features two 30-something singles who were stuck in a time loop. Of course, the day that they're reliving just happens to be the extremely worst day of their lives, so they need to team up and find a way to break the cycle. This is a fresh new take on the Groundhog Day story, so if you loved Palm Springs and Una Out of Order, this will be right up your alley. Next slide, please.
All right, Amy Dawes is a TikTok sensation. She's got several best of big book talk titles. She has 26 million plus hashtags on TikTok and an enthusiastic, loyal fan base who eagerly await her titles. It's why we're excited to present you with book 3 in her super popular Mountain Man Matchmaker series, Honeymoon Phase. It's a hilarious fake marriage of convenience story with a spicy small town twist. Amy Dawes brings that LOL-worthy humor to this book, along with supremely spicy heat. She engages the classic rom-com tropes readers know and love, and she also brings lots of heart to her books. Gen Z and millennial readers and beyond will find Honeymoon Phase a hilarious romp, and we're so excited to have you read it. The book is also available in hardcover and then this gorgeous sprayed edge paperback. All the books in the series have these beautiful design sprayed edges. Next slide.
And now, speaking of spicy romance, we've got a solid lineup of dark romance romantasy releases coming up this fall. So let's start with The Bond That Burns, which is book 2 in beloved author Briar Boland's Bloodwig Academy series, which is set in a dark academia world of vampires, dragons, fae, and it's got a little bit of Arthurian legend as well. It's got the best elements of Fourth Wing and Zodiac Academy in it. It comes out in November, and we couldn't be more excited. And then we have Rejected by Jamin Eve, who is a rising star in the dark romantasy world. Rejected is the first trilogy in Jamin's dark romantasy series called Shadow Beast Shifters, which has sold almost 1 million ebooks. It's about a female wolf shifter who, when rejected by her fated mate, calls out to the Shadow Beast, who is this god of the shifter realm, and he answers, and things get really complicated, interesting, spicy, thrilling, as the Shadow Beast shows up, punishes her enemies, and then abducts her. Rejected comes out in December, and it's definitely going to bring the heat. And then we have Dante by Sadie Kincaid, who is an Amazon #1 best-selling spicy romance author. She's also been recognized as one of the best book talk authors and has become a must-read in dark romance. Dante is the first book in her Chicago Ruthless series. It's an enemies to lovers, forced proximity, spicy mafia romance. It's not a romantasy, which is perfect for fans of Rena Kent, H.D. Carlton, and Chantal Tessier. It comes out in December, and we're super excited. Next slide, please. And then Dawn of the Firebird is book 1 of an epic fantasy trilogy that we're absolutely thrilled to share with you all. I'm personally a massive fan of R.F. Kuang's Poppy War trilogy, and as well as Shelley Parker Chan's She Who Became the Sun series. So if you're like me, you will love this book. In fact, the author of Dawn of the Firebird, Sarah Mughal even worked as a sensitivity reader for R.F. Kuang's Babel. So hers is a highly anticipated voice in fantasy right now. And this is exactly the kind of breathtaking fantasy readers, breathtaking fantasy that readers will love. And it follows the daughter of an overthrown emperor whose parents are assassinated by a rival empire. So she joins the enemy's army full of magic and martial arts, and she risks it all to topple her adversaries to avenge her parents and claim her throne. But there is war brewing amongst the kingdoms, and there's a new twisted dark magic that's spreading and overtaking the land, so she's torn between vengeance and salvation. The author has weaved in elements of Persian and Turkish culture, and she's also borrowed themes from Abrahamic traditions and monotheistic religion. So we're super excited. The book raises provocative questions about individual power, about choice, about the cost of war. And we're super excited for readers to discover this fresh new voice in December, which is when this book comes out. Next slide, please.
Okay, The Time Hop Coffee Shop by Phaedra Patrick. This book will be going on sale just in time for all the cozy vibes that we'll all desperately crave when it gets really cold outside. It revolves around Greta Perks, a former star of an iconic coffee commercial from the 90s. In the present, her fame has faded, her marriage is on the rocks, and her coffee shop is struggling. Things are not good until one day she meets a mysterious woman who claims to have a jar of magical coffee. Greta takes a sip and wishes she lived in the commercials from all those years ago when the sun was always shining, life was perfect, and the coffee always tasted so good. And next thing she knows, she's transported. Mapleville is perfect and full of second chances. Phaedra Patrick has been described as a writer who understands the soul, and her books are like a warm cup of tea or coffee. This book is no different. Her writing has always been well reviewed, and we're just so excited for this book. I love this gorgeous cover and gorgeous sprayed edges. It's just a wonderful, exciting book to add to Phaedra's list. Next slide, please. And then we just wanted to give a sneak peek of what's coming out in winter 2026. We have a new novel from Mary Kubica. Mary, of course, is a top-tier thriller author known for her best-selling titles, Local Woman Missing and She's Not Sorry. Mary's new novel, It's Not Her, is loosely based on the Ketty Cabin murders, which took place in the 1980s, and centers on two families who vacation together with a twist you won't see coming. You'll no doubt know Mary from her many library events and is a Library Reads Hall of Famer. And then Hollow by debut author Selena Myers. Selena has a massive platform, millions of followers each on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, where she goes by the handle Selena Spooky Boo. She built up her following posting funny sleepwalking videos. Hollow is a super fun vampire story that fits with Selena's online persona. So think Shirley Jackson meets Colleen Hoover, spooky, dramatic, and juicy. And then finally, Big Little Lies meets The House Across the Lake in Too Close to Home, a suspenseful thriller set in an idyllic, affluent lakeside neighborhood where the tranquil facade is shattered when a woman goes missing, causing the community's carefully hidden secrets to begin bubbling to the surface. Author Serafina Nova Glass is an Edgar Award nominee for her novels On a Quiet Street and The Vacancy in Room 10, and she was named a writer to watch by Publishers Weekly. We're planning a cover reveal in a week, so look out for the cover of that. And then finally on the next slide, that's it from us. Our contact info is on this slide. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of the buzz.
Thank you so much, Pam and Mahi. That was great. We have Catherine and Julie from Hachette. So, and they also have wonderful books. So looked at this, little slideshow already. It was great. So Catherine and Julie, thank you for being here to start. And please feel free to go ahead and get started.
Hi, I'm Julie here. I'm happy to be here representing Hachette Book Group's library marketing team with my colleague, Catherine. And we're here to share some exciting upcoming books with you. Next slide. First, we'll start with fiction. Petty Lies is a terrifying and unsettling little gem of a novel. We follow Mira, a desperate young woman, as she is hired by a wealthy single mother to tutor her lonesome son. But Mira is not who she presents herself to be. She is haunted by the death of her own family and motivated by the dark pulse of vengeance. This novel is structured into 4 different letters and journal entries, each with a web of cruelty, consequence, and closer to the truth. It also calls to mind the daring, slick, and disturbing nature of Confessions by Kane Minato. Petty Lies has been a Korean publishing sensation, and we are all stirred up about this translation. Next slide. We have The Ferryman and His Wife. This novel is about a Norwegian man on his final day and the ghost he encounters from his life. A story of a life well lived and filled with love, joy, sadness, and family. In the spirit of Amor Towles and George Saunders, and from the renowned best-selling Norwegian author Freud Gritten. This book won the Brage Prize in Norway, but this is one of his first works to be translated by Alison McCullough. This is a team favorite on our fall list. Next slide. Combining the various rivalries of the traders with the epic physical stunts of The Challenge, this fast-paced debut novel shines an unflinching light on the drama of reality TV when a gay man returns to the cutthroat show he won in his youth after his adult life begins to unravel post-divorce. Lovell brings his real-life competition show backdrop, jam-packing the Book of Luke with all the titillating drama that comes with the territory. There are salacious hookups, unbelievable backstabbings, and unputdownable tension. And there are also heartfelt moments and raw humanity that keep us coming back to it again and again. Next slide. If you love Princess Diana, if you've tuned into Oprah's interview with Harry and Meghan, if you're still reeling from the end of the Crown TV series or have binged shows like The Young Royals like I have, this book is for you. Returning to London after a freak accident makes Lexi the heir apparent, she is greeted by a skeptical public not ready to forgive her defection, and also a grieving family ready to destabilize the monarchy. With 1 year to decide, Lexi must chart her own destiny. Will she continue to flourish in a rewarding medical career in Australia with a bit of romance, or the Crown with eyes on her all the time? As a journalist who has reported extensively on the British royal family, author Rebecca Armitage brings expert knowledge and refined perspectives to this character-driven novel, which is for fans of Taylor Jenkins Reid. Murder in Manhattan. Inspired by real-life 1920s New Yorker columnist Lois Long, who went by the pseudonym Lipstick, and expertly critiqued the reckless New York City glamour of her time. The novel follows Freddie Archer, a young woman who splits her time between attending speakeasies and wild parties and writing the nightlife column for Gotham magazine. But Freddie's last piece just won her a bit more attention than she bargained for from the police. A man she mentioned in her column has been murdered. Now, between sipping gin rickeys with Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald and casting Broadway shows with Groucho Marx, she's dodging bullets and dating a potentially dangerous bootlegger. This is the perfect book for fans of historical fiction looking for stories of ordinary women doing extraordinary but slightly dangerous things. On to Catherine.
No one knows how the world will end, but mushroom spores may be the next pop culture apocalypse darling, and Pedro the Vast is here to deliver. Perfect for fans of The Last of Us, this debut novel takes readers into a tense world in the midst of ecological catastrophe. Here, a eucalyptus farm worker named Pedro miraculously survives a strange fungal disease that has claimed the lives of several of his co-workers and various others in the community. His survival fascinates a foreign mycologist, as well as a local priest, who dubs his mysterious mutterings to be the words of a prophet. Their Their competing efforts to reckon with Pedro's condition eventually meet in a horrifying climax that readers will never forget. Okay. Hemlock is a carnal story of addiction, a dark sparkler about rapture, desire, transformation, and transcendence in many forms. A novel that our editors affectionately call a butch dark swan. It follows Sam. Finally sober and stable, she makes what is supposed to be a quick, short trip to Hemlock, her family's deteriorating cabin deep in the Wisconsin Northwoods, where her mother disappeared years before. But a practical trip takes a turn for the worse when the rot and creak of the forest starts to creep in around the edges of Sam's mind. It starts, as it always does, with a beer. What follows? The borders of reality begin to blur, and Sam senses she is battling something sinister, whether it's nested in the woods or within herself. There's a long and storied literary tradition of novels set in Oxbridge, and the continued fascination is evident in contemporary media. Think Saltburn and Anatomy of a Scandal. The Fox Hunt delivers a new twist on our perennial fascination. It follows Emma Curran, a pragmatic second year at England's most ancient university, who wins a prestigious research fellowship and is drawn into the glamorous world of the elite and powerful Turnbull Club, a secret society that has shaped generations of young men destined to rule. During a ritualistic fox hunt, where the Turnbull Club hunt women for sport, Emma becomes prey, betrayed by the very man she loves. Fleeing for her life, she is thrust into the Night City, a magical and perilous realm where she is transformed into something no longer human. Indebted to this strange world, Emma must navigate dangers, uncover her new powers, and rise to challenge the Turnbull's dark legacy, seeking justice, revenge, and ultimately her own survival. Okay. And this next group of books comes from New York Times bestselling authors you already know and love. Nash Fall follows Walter Nash. When he's recruited by the FBI to help bring down a global crime network, his life is turned completely upside down. Return of the Spider is a stunning companion to Along Came a Spider, the best-selling series debut that introduced Detective Alex Cross. Following Quicksilver's breakout success, the Romantasy series continues with Brimstone, Return to the Blood Court, brimming with more drama, higher stakes, and deadly consequences. For readers of Carl Hyacin and Richard Osman's Thursday Murder Club, and fans of Mrs. Doubtfire, The Invisible Woman is about a retired FBI agent, described as personally and professionally forgettable, that is called back into service by her former FBI boss to go undercover as a family's unimposing nanny.
First developed as a screenplay, Godfall, penned by screenwriter and comic book writer Van Jensen, is a page-turning adventure with truly cinematic storytelling. It's set in the little town of Little Springs, Nebraska, and it follows what happens when an asteroid predicted to obliterate the town and all of humanity, but it doesn't. In fact, it isn't an asteroid, but a 3-mile tall alien that drops down, seemingly dead. Dubbed the Giant, this cosmic event changes the town forever, and now Sheriff David Blunt must handle the unease of an ever-growing town, as it's not only flooded by top-secret government officials, soldiers, scientists, and conspiracy theories, and a murder, but also filled with tensions and culture clashes that come when a small town rapidly expands into a newly minted metropolitan area. With television rights to Godfall already being sold and it's being slated to stream on Amazon Prime, this is a story that your patrons will want to get ahead on. Next slide. Missing Sam is a provocative examination of suburban mores. It captures the terror manifested in today's political climate and the real dangers, both physical and psychological, of being brown and queer in America and trying to survive in conservative spaces that claim to accept you. It tells the story of a married couple, Sam and Aaliyah. After a heated argument the night before, Sam goes on a run to clear her mind, but never returns. Aaliyah immediately reports her missing, but as a gay Muslim daughter of immigrants, she can't escape the scrutiny and suspicion of those around her. While Sam is being held captive, Aaliyah must fight to prove her innocence in the public eye and save her wife. But is safety ever truly possible for them, even after Sam is freed?
Molly O'Neill's debut novel Green Teeth was only published in late February 2025, but it has already garnered 3-star reviews and loads of positive acclaim. Her follow-up Nightshade and Oak is also sure to delight, bringing Molly's characteristic wit, charm, and adventure. It follows Maut, the goddess of death who is accidentally turned human by a wayward spell and finds herself devastatingly unequipped to deal with the trials of mortal life. Unable to fend for herself, she teams up with warrior Bellis on a perilous journey to the afterlife to try to restore her powers. Frustrated by her frail human body and beset with blisters, Maut might not make the best traveling companion. But as animosity slowly turns to attraction, these two very different women must learn to work together if they are to have any hope of surviving their quest. Fans of fairy tale retellings rejoice. The Trident and the Pearl is the first installment in Sarah K. L. Wilson's debut romantasy. Drawing from the lesser-known grim fairy tale King Thrushbeard, it will delight readers who enjoy tales of capricious gods, questionable magic, dastardly bargains, and most of all, romance. Queen Corallis rules the kingdom of the Five Isles. But when disaster strikes, killing her husband and destroying half her nation, she pleads with the gods for salvation. They save her, but the gods have a wicked sense of justice and they demand an exchange for their help. Corallis must marry the first man to set foot on her pier. She expects a prince of an ally nation. What she gets instead is a fisherman, so sunburned and stinking that her court can barely keep their breakfast down. Corallis marries the fisherman just as she promised the gods, with nothing but hopes of revenge against them to keep her from despair. But what she does not know is that the fisherman is actually the god of the sea, and he stepped on her pier for a reason. His own kingdom is in peril.
And now we move on to our nonfiction list. Grit, Spit, and Never Quit is comedian Rob Riggle's frank, funny, and inspirational memoir about how the lessons he learned while serving in the U.S. Marines prepared him for life, especially when it came to pursuing his comedy dreams. Before he graced movie screens in films like The Hangover and television shows like The Daily Show, Rob served his country as a Marine for 23 years, learning the hard way that you need to embrace the suck and never give up if you want to get anywhere in life. No matter what he was doing, every time Wiggle wanted to throw in the towel, he channeled his inner Marine and kicked his butt into gear. Next slide. How do we combat racism in a world determined to tell us it doesn't exist? To hold the line against racism, we need to know it when we see it. The problem, says researcher and DEI leader and organizational consultant Dr. Evelyn Carter, is that people haven't been socialized to detect racial bias in the way people of color do. Fortunately, detecting it is a skill that can be learned. Was That Racist is a re-education, call to action, and practical guide full of research-backed strategies, including how to cultivate a growth mindset about bias and bring others along for the journey. At a time when DEI is under coordinator attack, Was That Racist is the essential toolkit for anyone who believes everyone has a role to play in creating a more equitable world. And on to one of my favorites. In 1925, The New Yorker, a then lighthearted apolitical humor magazine, sent Jane Flanner to Paris to cover the glamour, art, and culture of the dazzling city. But as she woke to the frightening signs of rising extremism, economic turmoil, and widespread discontent in Europe, Flanner ignored her editor's directives, reinventing herself, her assignment, and The New Yorker in the process. The Typewriter and the Guillotine offers the personal and professional coming-of-age story of an invincible journalist set against a glamorous, high-stakes backdrop, a tightly coiled drama full of romance and intrigue, bringing to the forefront a trailblazer often discounted in historical narratives.
8. Penned by an evolutionary biologist and sex researcher, The Intimate Animal is an eye-opening exploration of the most powerful force that drives our species. Kinsey Institute Director Dr. Justin Garcia illuminates the mysteries of how we date, mate, and navigate our love lives. Whether you're seeking that special someone, recovering from heartbreak, or trying to keep the passion alive, The Intimate Animal is the essential research-based guide to forging deeper, more intimate connections in these disconnected times. We are in the middle of a pain epidemic, yet for decades, we've misunderstood what pain actually is. The result, millions stuck in a cycle of suffering. But what if we've been asking the wrong questions? In this provocative, paradigm-shifting book, pain psychologist Dr. Rachel Softness radically reframes the way we understand pain. Drawing on fascinating case studies from her own practice, she explains why pain isn't simply a symptom of injury. It's shaped by your thoughts, your past, your stress levels, your relationships, even your expectations. With cutting-edge neuroscience, psychology, and game-changing concepts, Tell Me Where It Hurts offers more than insight. It offers a way forward. Smart, readable, and refreshingly empowering. This is the pain book we've been waiting for. Rashana Landfair was only 14 years old when a predatory video of her and the R&B singer R. Kelly went viral. And while her fearless testimony helped to convict the king of pop soul, exposing him as a sex trafficker, abuser, and criminal he is, it also sent her life into a further spiral. Who's Watching Shorty is Landfair's story and a powerful, timely memoir. Written in second person, Landfair is addressing her younger self, whether as a teenager or younger woman, offering lessons to herself and others about healing and resilience. The Abortion Companion is a warm, accepting, non-judgmental, and stigma-free companion to your abortion journey. With an emphasis on self-compassion, this book collects reflection prompts, affirmations, conversation scripts, logistical information, self-care tips, and much more to validate and support readers. Bolstered by beautiful illustrations and the caring, confident support of author and reproductive rights advocate Becca Ray Tucker, this book will meet readers wherever they are and offer guidance for every step of their journey. And that was our last book. We also included our book club catalog here.
Yeah, and please follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Hachette Library, and you can email us at library@hbgusa.com. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine and Julie. That was great. Again, so many great books. I love this chat too. We're just so excited about all of your books that are coming out. So thank you again. Okay, last but not least, we have Kristen from Abrams.
Thank you so much for having me today. Hi, I'm Kristen Liu, the Associate Director of School and Library Marketing at Abrams. As a former New Jersey library kid, I am really excited to be here talking to New Jersey librarians. I fell in love with reading at the Middletown Public Library, so thank you from a former library kid. And today I'm going to give you a snapshot of all the amazing books that Abrams publishes, from picture books, middle grade, YA, graphic novels for kids and adults, and adult fiction and nonfiction. Abrams focuses on the art of books, so it's our goal to publish really beautifully designed books with incredible stories for readers of all ages. So I'm going to get started now with picture books. First, Body Beautiful is one of my favorite picture books this fall. It's a new collaboration from a new powerhouse author-illustrator team, Susan Verde, best-selling author of the I Am series, and rising star and Indigenous artist Steph Littlebird, the illustrator of My Powerful Hair, which received 4-star reviews. Together, they've crafted Body Beautiful, a celebration of bodies in all shapes and forms, featuring a diverse range of body types and abilities. The inclusive and affirming text tells young readers, your body is unique, your body is growing, your body is deserving of kindness and love. Your body is your own, not for anyone else to judge, define, or touch without your permission. The gentle message in this book of consent and bodily autonomy is such a needed one for young readers. And this book is a celebration not only of physical appearances, but also of our body's expressiveness, our wisdom, our resilience. And this is a really empowering read to share with bodies young and old. Next, I am so excited to talk about our new Questionnaires picture book by #1 New York Times bestselling team, Andrea Beatty and David Roberts. In case you've lost count, we have 6 fabulous Questionnaires picture books, as well as project books with hands-on activities, and several chapter books featuring these incredible characters for older readers. But I am thrilled today to introduce our new Questionnaire, Billie Jean Pete Athlete. She is my new favorite and perhaps the most relatable of the Questionnaires so far. Unlike her classmates Ada Twist, scientist, and Rosie Revere, engineer, Billie Jean, like a lot of us, was not born knowing exactly what she wanted to do. In fact, Billie Jean doesn't feel like she can do anything right at all. She's up all night worrying about if she's ever going to find her unique talent. And then one day the unthinkable happens. Billie Jean is playing basketball and she's in exactly the right spot at exactly the right time to score a basket for the other team. Oh no. And even though Billie Jean wants to run out of the gym and hide, she finishes the game and she discovers with the help of her squeaky sneakers that she can combine movement and sound to create a music that's all her own. And as Andrea Beatty explains in her author's note, most of us are Billie Jean. We figure it out as we go, so don't compare yourself with others because each person is on their own unique journey and has their own unique talents to discover. And we have even more amazing Questionnaires news because coming in 2026, little readers will meet the Questionnaires babies. You can see them here. They're so adorable. I love their little knees. This is a brand new board book series, each book exploring a different concept. The first book is What's That Color? It's on sale in March. It's the perfect intro to colors for little readers. And I'm so glad to be able to share the Questionnaires with an even younger audience of readers. Now readers can grow and learn with the Questionnaires from board book to picture book to chapter book. So I hope you'll share this delightful series with your readers. Next, I wanted to share 2 new picture books from award-winning creator Duncan Tonatiuh. First, coming this November, Vita is available as an English and Spanish hardcover. It's an original fable about a community coming together to defeat a common enemy. When a town full of mice is under attack by a cat, they decide to work together to create an alebrije sculpture, a colorful and fantastical creature. I can show you on the next slide. So here's the sculpture that they create together to scare the cat away. The mice choose hope, solidarity, and joy in the face of fear, which is a really needed and hopeful message right now. And also coming next year in April, we have a really special project, We the People is All the People, illustrated by Duncan Tonatiuh and written by his longtime Abrams editor, Howard Reeves. This book offers a fresh, inclusive perspective on the US Constitution, answering the question, who are the we of We the People? As we strive for a more perfect union, we the people should mean all the people. And as we approach the 250th anniversary of the United States next year on July 4th, 2026, there's no better time to share this important book with young readers, families, and your fellow librarians and educators. In a moment when the foundations of our country are also being tested, this book presents a unique opportunity to reach readers with a message of inclusion, diversity, and the true meaning of democracy. And I showed you this picture of Vita already. And finally, I wanted to say, staying on Duncan Tonatiuh for a second, next month is Latinx Heritage Month. So Duncan has an incredible backlist of titles in English and Spanish that I'll hope you'll check out. He also worked with ALA to design a Celebrate Latino Heritage poster, which is available on the ALA store. So I encourage you to go get one for your displays. And finally, just one more picture book I have to share next year. Last week, People magazine revealed this cover of Songbird in the Light, a new book from Broadway star Billy Porter with rising star author Chris Clarkson and award-winning illustrator Charlie Palmer about the power of finding your voice. This book is absolutely stunning. I'm such a big fan of Charlie Palmer already. I really feel like his art in this book is just so beautiful. And the story behind the book is beautiful too. Billy talks about how it was inspired by, he was a young person. He discovered that his superpower was his voice and it became his salvation. He said, the only reason I'm alive is because I could sing. And in the story, we meet a songbird with a voice bigger than his whole body. But at school, his classmates make fun of him, which makes him feel like a songbird that is too shy to sing. But with the support of his choir teacher, he realizes his voice is unique and distinct. And when the school showcase comes around, he is finally ready to share his talent with the world. And Billy hopes that this story will inspire young readers just like him. So really encourage you to check that out in March. Now we're going to move on to Amulet Books, which is our imprint for chapter books, middle grade, and young adults. So we have a really fantastic Amulet list. Again, I encourage you to check out the full list on Edelweiss and on abramsbooks.com. But just a few big highlights from this fall. We have the 6th book in Sadia Faruqi and Anna Bushri's illustrated chapter book series, following Maria Khan, who is a 3rd grade Pakistani American, and this time she's back in a new wintry adventure. We have the 3rd book in the Oliver's Great Big Universe series. This is the perfect next read for Wimpy Kid fans. It's the same illustrated diary format and laugh out loud funny, and also includes a lot of STEM content. This time, Oliver is learning all about evolution. Next, we have the new Detective Duck chapter book from acclaimed team Henry Winkler, Lynn Oliver, and Dan Santat. They really are a dynamic trio, and this series follows an adorable gang of animal detectives as they solve eco-mysteries. So there's also a great environmental message to the series too. And finally, get ready to party, because the 20th Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, Party Pooper, is coming this fall. Expect gobs of fun and over-the-top antics as Greg throws an epic birthday party for none other than himself. Next, moving on to young adult, we have a new novel in verse from Morris Award finalist Hannah B. Sawyer. You may remember her debut, All the Fighting Parts, which was named a Garden State Teen Book Award nominee, as well as a Walter Dean Myers Award honor book. Hannah is an award-winning poet and a former teen slam poetry competitor, which is part of her inspiration for this new book, Truth Is. Her main character, Truth, is writing and performing poetry as a way to escape her mother. She is a turbulent home life and is pretty uncertain about what her future looks like. And then she learns that she's pregnant, and she's certain that she wants an abortion. So she makes a decision. And a lot of the book is her deciding to perform a piece of slam poetry inspired by her decision at an open mic night. And unfortunately, the piece goes viral online, the recording. So everyone is made aware of her decision, even her mother, who she had decided not to share the decision with. I really think that Hannah is so talented at talking about these really hard topics, but incredibly, discussion-worthy topics for a teen audience. So I really encourage you to check this out. Her writing is incredibly dynamic and emotionally resonant, so please do check it out. And also coming this fall, YA Alex Astor fans are staying fed this fall, because we have 2 new books from Alex Astor. In case you're unfamiliar, Lightlark is a #1 New York Times bestselling YA fantasy series and a viral book talk sensation with 3 million copies sold. We've had 3 books in the Lightlark series so far, including Lightlark, Nightbane, and Skyshade, featuring our heroine Isla as she navigates deadly games and deliciously messy love triangles. Coming this October, we have Grimm and Oro, which is, sorry about that. I don't know if we're seeing ourselves there, so I'll get rid of that too. Coming this October, we have Grimm and Oro, which is a brand new romantasy novellas, 2 romantasy novellas told from the perspectives of her 2 romantic interests, Grimm and Oro. And fans have very strong opinions about whether they're Team Grimm or Team Oro. And with this cool deluxe volume, they can read both stories. You just flip the book over for the alternate cover. And coming in December, Isla's story continues in book 4 of the Lightlark series, Crown Tide, which picks up her journey with even more twists, tension, and drama that will keep fans hooked until the very last page. And now I'd love to tell you about some graphic novels for all ages, starting with graphic novels for kids and teens from our Abrams Fanfare imprint. What do you get when you mix theater kid drama, boarding school intrigue, a classic murder mystery, and an award-winning creative team? You get This Place Kills Me, a must-read YA graphic novel coming in August. Best-selling creators Mariko Tamaki and Nicole Go deliver a gripping whodunit set at a 1980s boarding school, told through comics, letters, diary entries, and news articles, creating a fresh and immersive format. Abby is a new student at Wilburton Academy, struggling to fit in until she connects with Elizabeth, a popular girl and the star of the school's Romeo and Juliet production. Elizabeth warns her about the dangers of fitting in with the popular crowd at her school. And then the next morning, Elizabeth is found dead, and her death is ruled as suicide. But Abby is convinced there's more to the story than this. And as she digs deeper, she uncovers dark secrets and realizes one of them may have been worth killing for. This is a twisty mystery that explores queer identity, belonging, and the complexities of teen friendship. Next is an enchanting new middle grade graphic novel coming this October, and the first in a new multi-book fantasy series that we're calling Anne of Green Gables meets How to Train Your Dragon. In Kindred Dragons, readers meet Alice, a spirited young girl who is absolutely obsessed with dragons. On Prince Edward Island, where she lives, fairies deliver dragon eggs to a select few called kindreds, but Alice has never received one. One day, while wandering in the woods, she secretly befriends Brim, an ancient dragon without a kindred of his own. Alice is thrilled until Brim mysteriously falls ill. Desperate to save her new friend, Alice embarks on a quest that reveals her connection to the dragons is unlike anything seen before. The art in this book is absolutely beautiful with a color palette I just love, and this is a magical start to a rich new fantasy world. Next, just a quick shout out to some of our favorite continuing series this fall. We have Bones and Berserkers, which is book 13 in Nathan Hale's best-selling Hazardous Tales series, featuring true spooky stories from history just in time for spooky season. Home See Home is the second book in Nidhi Chinani's Super Boba Cafe. You may remember some of her previous graphic novels like Pashmina. Book 1 in Super Boba Cafe was named a also great graphic novel and an ALA Best Graphic Novel for Children. Keep It Clean is the 7th title in our Big Ideas That Changed the World series, which is nonfiction history graphic novel. This time it's all about sanitation and, yes, the history of poop. And Blast from the Past is a new cosmic adventure of Astrid and Stella, delivering more laughs and social emotional learning lessons. Next, we're going to move on to talking about graphic novels for older readers and adults from Abrams Comic Arts. In case you missed it, earlier this year, we released Parable of the Talents, the second graphic novel adaptation of Octavia E. Butler's acclaimed Parable series, adapted by Damian Duffy and illustrated by John Jennings and David Bram. Many of you are probably familiar with Butler's work already, but if not, the Parable books were originally written in the 1990s. These are dystopian stories that begin in the year 2024, and Butler's vision of America's future is strikingly prophetic, offering powerful and timely messages for today's readers. Damian Duffy, John Jennings, and David Bram have masterfully translated these new complex narratives into the graphic novel format, creating an accessible entry point for readers while enriching the story with their stunning and emotional artwork. And once you've finished both Parable adaptations, be sure to check out Kindred, the #1 New York Times bestselling graphic novel from the same talented team. Next, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes is a gripping, sharply illustrated crime drama set in the dangerous world of the 1930s Chicago and New York. It just received a Booklist starred review that praises the book's impeccable world building, historical detail, and sharp atmospheric art. It's perfect for fans of Banana Fish and adult LGBTQIA graphic novels like Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. It's a story about Jules Tivoli, who is a young Italian immigrant who's just scraping by until he catches the eye of Adam Czar, who is a powerful Chicago kingpin. And under his wing, Jules finds love, status, and a place in the criminal underworld. But when an FBI crackdown forces them to flee New York, Jules' heritage earns him more respect in the Italian-run mafia, while Adam struggles to hold on to the influence that he had before. So as Jules' powers grow and a dangerous new partner tempts him away from Adam, he's caught between loyalty, ambition, and survival. Oops, I just realized we're not on the right page. There we are. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. And so his new partner is drawing him away from Adam, and with when a betrayal forces him, he must decide who to protect if he can make it out alive. So definitely encourage you to check out this one. Book was raved about the art and the story here. And also next, if your readers have ever wanted to make their own comics, they won't want to miss Making Nonfiction Comics by Shay Merck and Ellery Harris, 2 award-winning graphic journalists. This is a smart and accessible guide for aspiring creators of all ages. This guide blends comics, prose, infographics, and interviews with some of the most notable creators in graphic nonfiction, including Durf Backdurf, Box Brown, and Nate Powell, offering real-world insight into how nonfiction comics are made. Harris and Merck introduce readers to the unique possibilities of visual storytelling while also addressing the importance of research and accurate reporting and the journalistic ethics and standards involved in reporting history through comics. And of course, in this spread, they make sure to give librarians a lovely shout out, reminding readers that there's no better resource than your local library, and perhaps no human is more helpful than a librarian, which we all know is so true. And finally, in case you missed it, we launched a new manga imprint last year called Kana. Today, I'm highlighting just 2 of their fall standout titles from manga living legend Tsukasa Hojo, whose work defined the look and feel of 1980s manga and beyond. Hojo mentored many young creators, and his influence is still seen across manga today. First up, Cat's Eye. This is a sleek and stylish series about three sisters who run a cafe by day and steal art by night. This English edition collects the first 3 volumes of the series, which is equal parts heist, comedy, and romance. And with a new anime series currently in development for streaming, it's the perfect time to bring it to your shelves for a new generation of readers. Hojo's art is instantly recognizable using bold lines, sharp details, and the stylish glamour of Japan's nightlife. And then also we have City Hunter, which is another iconic Hojo series featuring a charismatic detective, gritty action, and whip-smart humor. This is also a collection of the first 3 volumes of the series, and both of these Hojo series are absolute essential additions for fans of classic manga, cinematic storytelling, and timeless cool. Finally, let's talk about fiction and nonfiction for adults. First, in case you missed it, we released David Levithan's newest novel last week. He teams up with beloved singer-songwriter Jens Lekman for a tender, witty, and romantic novel about Jay, an unlucky in love wedding singer who writes an original song for every couple, but it has him starting to question his own relationship as his girlfriend's career takes off in New York. It's a really clever, charming, and music-infused story. It has a starter review already from Kirkus and a ton of blurbs from other authors, and it has really strong book club appeal, so definitely hand this to your readers looking for commercial fiction and romance stories. Next, I'm going to highlight 3 incredible memoirs coming this fall, starting with Artwork by Sally Mann. She is an acclaimed photographer, and her previous memoir, Hold Still, was the nonfiction winner of the Carnegie Medal for Excellence. Artwork is an incisive and often funny meditation on creativity and the creative process, its hazards, lucks, rejection, and hard work, illustrated through photos, journal entries, and letters by Sally Mann. We have 2 starter reviews and a lot of great early buzz for this book. It's a great choice for artists and patrons who gravitate towards process-driven memoirs. And next, in Unseen, How I Lost My Vision But Found My Voice, content creator and disability advocate Molly Burke shares a candid, darkly humorous memoir about losing her sight to a rare degenerative eye disease and how she developed her voice for her public platform. With over 5 million followers, Molly has a really passionate audience online who will love this story about inclusion and accessibility. Unseen is part memoir, part rallying cry for a more compassionate and empathetic world. And it really pulls back the curtain on Molly's experiences navigating the challenges of her life, from her early experiences with relentless bullying and toxic work environments to her personal and professional successes and the experience of being blind and traveling to events and walking the red carpet, some of which was glamorous and some of it is really a challenge as she continues to encounter accessibility issues. This is a really strong choice for your memoir shelves and disability studies collections. And finally, James Beard Award-winning restaurateur Kevin Boehm, co-founder of the Boca Group, delivers an energetic behind-the-scenes memoir that reads like The Tender Bar Meets the Bear. This is a frank and funny account of Kevin's journey and the chaos and joy of opening 40 restaurants. It's a found family story for Kevin, who had a turbulent family life growing up and eventually found a new home and a newfound family in his restaurants. You can see here we have some incredible blurbs from James Beard Award winner Jenny Meyer, food expert and Top Chef host Gail Simmons, and award-winning actress Angela Bassett. This is a delicious treat for fans of food memoirs, those who love behind-the-scenes restaurant stories, and stories about business and entrepreneurship. And that's it from me. Again, that was just a brief snapshot. You can find our full catalogs on our website, abramsbooks.com, and Edelweiss for even more books. And please do feel free to reach out to me anytime for ARCs or more info about any of these titles. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Kristen. There's so many great titles too. I want to thank everyone for being here. This was such a great presentation. But before I forget, I want a nice round of applause for our presenters. So Pamela, Mahi, Catherine, Julie, and Kristen, thank you so much. Again, so many great titles. Thank you again. And thank you everyone for being here. We really appreciate all your support.